Welcome back to Visual Learners, your one-stop shop for all things awesome in the world of AI. Buckle up because China's SenseTime just dropped a bombshell. Today, we're diving into some seriously hot news that's got the tech world buzzing. Let's talk about SenseNova 5.0. SenseTime, the Chinese AI powerhouse, has unveiled its latest generative AI model, SenseNova 5.0.
Okay, it seems like the investors are quite interested in this whole, Sense Chat, SenseNova. What was this event like, Peter?
Yeah, it was interesting. We've had a few companies follow in the footsteps of OpenAI and come out with AI services. Other Chinese companies have done this already too. SenseTime is not as high profile as some of the others, including Alibaba and Baidu, but they had a pretty impressive demonstration of these new AI services. The CEO, Shu Li, took the stage and showed off a suite of services. As you mentioned, the centerpiece was this rival to ChatGPT. It's called SenseChat. And he showed how you could ask questions and get answers from the chatbot to do things like tell stories. There was a story about a cat catching fish, for example. But more practically, there were also applications where you could use this chatbot in order to do computer programming. He demonstrated English and Chinese also. That was sort of the centerpiece, but there were other things too, including one for 3D modeling, for architecture, for example, another one that could be used to drop images into videos. So overall, it was pretty impressive. Shares are up quite strongly this morning.
This, my friends, is a large language model developed by SenseTime, a Chinese AI powerhouse, and let me tell you, large is an understatement. This thing is trained on a whopping 10 terabytes of data, giving it some serious smarts. Think of it like stuffing a library's worth of knowledge into a supercomputer. But SenseNova 5.0 doesn't just memorize, it understands. We're talking about next-level stuff, creative writing, complex reasoning, even coding. So, what's the buzz? Well, SenseNova 5.0 is like the superhero of language models. It's faster, smarter, and ready to take on the heavyweights, GPT-4 Turbo and Llama 3.0. Yesterday, at SenseTime's Tech Day event in Shanghai, Chairman Su Li dropped the bombshell. SenseNova 5.0 has significantly improved in all these areas. But wait, there's more. SenseTime's shares skyrocketed, up 31% in early Hong Kong trading. Investors were like, hold my coffee. The gain wiped out year-to-date losses and gave the bears a run for their money. But why the hype? Well, SenseNova 5.0 is SenseTime's comeback kid. Remember when they went public in 2021, raising over $700 million? They were the first of China's AI dragons to hit the stock market. Now, that's a bold statement. The tech world is waiting with bated breath to see how this plays out. But one thing's for sure, SenseTime's stock is going bananas. Shares skyrocketed after the announcement, showing just how much hype surrounds SenseNova 5.0. This could be a game changer for AI, folks.
So you can see here that their SenseNova 5.0 actually looks pretty decent. So on the left, you can see it states that it is hybrid used. In the middle, they states that it is trained on over 10 billion tokens. The inference actually supports up to 200,000 tokens, which is rather interesting because we've seen longer and longer context windows. So a 200K context window is something that is, I wouldn't say surprising, but it does show that, of course, things are going well. And of course, the main statement from this is that performance exceeds GPT-4 Turbo. Now, the reason, as you all know, why GPT-4 Turbo is highly touted as the state-of-the-art model at that time, and that's why people constantly try to one-up that in terms of the benchmarks. Here's where things start to get interesting, and here's where things are really fascinating, because these are obviously the benchmarks for this system. You can see SenseChat version 5 is over here on the right hand side. This is SenseChat version 5, and then of course what they actually do, and this, pay attention here because I'm gonna say some things and I'm gonna recall them. So you can see right here that they actually do compare this to GPT-4 Turbo, and that actually is to the eagle-eyed viewers that it is the 1106. This isn't actually the most recent one, but it's not also a most outdated one as well. And we can see that the only benchmarks that it surpasses their model SenseChat version 5 on is, of course, the math zero-shot benchmark right here. And we can see that it's highlighted in the 61% area, and we can see that in this benchmark right here as well. So we can basically see that currently what we're looking at is a situation where across all of the benchmarks compared to GPT-4 Turbo, one of the most recent models, I don't know why they didn't do the most recent one, I'm guessing just based on where they are in their testing. And of course, we do have a comparison with Llama 3 70 billion parameters instruct. We can see that the differences from GPT-4 are honestly, I wouldn't say quite stark, but it doesn't just seem to be a simply percentage gain. Like, for example, on the MMLU, we can see that this one is rather small, but on the CMMLU, I'm guessing that this is a different version of the MMLU, perhaps the Chinese MMLU, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. We can see that it increases. But you can see, like I said, on the different benchmarks here, the gains don't seem to be completely incremental, because if we actually look at the differences, this one is at 80 and this one is at 93.61. So I think what we're looking at here, and of course, some of these benchmarks aren't all on GPT-4, as in when I was actually checking some of the other models, I couldn't find things like the race, I couldn't find things like the natural questions on other models, and that's like Gemini Pro and Claude, and I do actually test them against it, and I'll get to that later on in the video. But essentially, I think this is rather fascinating that, you know, China has, I would say, surpassed GPT-4 Turbo in their model.
Audio Jungle.